Adidas didn't see it coming. Neither did Puma, New Balance, or even most of Nike. While traditional brands were busy scouting performance stats, Shedeur Sanders was crafting something different, a symbol that hit harder than any highlight reel. When the SS crown exploded into fashion and music, sweeping into Europe, Asia, and the female market, it became clear. This was no ordinary athlete launch. It was a cultural moment. Within days, competitors were holding emergency meetings and scrambling for their next move. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Sanders has proven that real influence doesn't wait for league stats or seasons. It's built on identity. The SS crown isn't riding on hype. It's thriving on authenticity of a player who performs under pressure and knows who he is. That fusion of game and persona has raised the bar for what it means to sign a rookie and what a rookie can build before ever stepping onto a pro field. Shedeur Sanders just pulled off the kind of move that makes marketing executives lose sleep and rookie athletes start taking notes. In a single weekend, he turned a logo drop into a full-blown cultural event, backed by Nike, no less. The same company that built empires off of legends just had their own system flipped by a rookie. And not just any rookie. Sanders is now the name ringing out across boardrooms and barbershops alike. The SS Crown logo hit the market with zero subtlety and even less hesitation. The moment it launched, Nike's site started glitching under the weight of the demand. Not because of a new shoe drop, not because of a surprise collab. This was pure raw brand power, driven by Shedeur's name and image alone. In just 72 hours, the launch smashed sales records, outpacing numbers once held by seasoned athletes and celebrity partnerships. It wasn't a slow burn. It was a cultural flashpoint. Everyone in the industry saw the headlines and did a double take. A $92 million deal for a rookie? At first glance, it looked like an overreach. Within days, it looked like a bargain. Nike, known for making bold bets, clearly saw something. And now, it's the competitors who are scrambling. Adidas, Puma, New Balance. They're suddenly dusting off playbooks they haven't used in years, trying to pivot toward the same energy Shedeur just ignited. But it wasn't just hype. That's the part that really shifted the conversation. Shedeur didn't just cash in on a moment. He created one. His performance on the field hasn't wavered. Poised, accurate, and strategic. He plays like he's got the whole game clock downloaded in his brain. That consistency gave the logo launch legitimacy. This wasn't a brand fishing for attention. It was the next chapter of a player who's already changing the rules. What separates this from the typical endorsement flash is how naturally Shedeur has blurred the line between athlete and icon. The SS crown isn't just a logo. It's become a symbol. On social media, it's being tattooed, turned into jewelry, stitched onto fan art, and embedded into streetwear collabs that popped up seemingly overnight. People aren't just buying a product. They're buying a message, confidence, aspiration, identity. And the thing is, it wasn't just American fans going wild. Orders were flying in from Europe and Asia. Gen Z fans in Tokyo, Berlin, and London, they're all in. It's rare for any athlete, let alone one at the start of their NFL career, to break through cultural walls that fast. The logo didn't need explanation. It hit with the kind of immediacy that even brands dream of and usually never reach. It's not just about logos and global sales, though. Shedeur's rise is rooted in something deeper. His ability to build a brand that feels personal without being performative. His behind-the-scenes content, from training footage to casual campus moments, has made his brand feel lived in. It doesn't come off like a marketing team running tests in a lab. It feels like a real person who knows exactly what story you want to tell, and how to tell it in a way that Gen Z actually cares about. That intentionality is what makes it different from other rollouts. Most athletes slap their initials on a hoodie, maybe throw in a quote about hustle, and hope for the best. Shedeur's SS crown is calculated, but not cold. There's heart behind it, and that's why it resonates. It's design, yes, but it's also experienced. Every drop, every caption, every frame has a through line. And it all ties back to performance and identity. On the field, he's not just holding his own, he's defining moments. His composure under pressure is part of what gives a brand credibility. If he was all flash, this wouldn't stick. But when he drops dimes on third downs and moves chains when it matters most, it reinforces that he's not just a lifestyle figure. He's a competitor. That's what Nike underestimated in the original contract. The $92 million? That was before the SS crown flooded the internet, before global sales shattered their own forecasts. Now, they're reportedly back at the negotiation table, trying to bring the numbers in line with the reality they didn't fully anticipate. It's not just about selling out inventory anymore. It's about acknowledging value. And the value conversation doesn't stop with Shedeur. The ripple effect is hitting other rookies and the entire endorsement ecosystem. Brands that used to wait and see if a player had staying power are rethinking the whole model. There's suddenly a new urgency to lock in cultural relevance early, before the next Shedeur Sanders hits the scene. Competitors are reacting fast. Adidas is rumored to be scouting influencers instead of just athletes. Puma is reportedly shifting their contract structures to build more flexible, performance-based deals. They've all seen what happens when you wait too long. Someone else steps in and defines a moment. That's what Shedeur did. He defined the moment. Even more interesting is how gender dynamics and cross-demographics have entered the picture. Female buyers made up a huge slice of the SS Crown's early adopters, especially in fashion-focused circles. The drop didn't feel male-centric. It felt broad, inclusive, aspirational. It didn't scream football merch. It whispered, you want to be part of this. There's something to be said about how rare that is, especially for a rookie. It usually takes years for an athlete to transcend the sport and become a lifestyle figure. But Shedeur's blueprint is fast-forwarding the process. Cultural resonance and smart branding have leapfrogged traditional marketing metrics. Brands are watching and realizing they've been measuring the wrong things. That pressure is now being felt inside Nike, too. Internally, there's been talk of needing more dynamic contract models, ones that reward early performance spikes and allow for renegotiation when an athlete's brand blows up unexpectedly. Shedeur's rollout basically exposed how slow and rigid the endorsement world has become. It's not that Nike didn't believe in him. They just didn't forecast the explosion. Now, with the infrastructure struggling to keep up and sales still climbing, they're trying to course correct while staying ahead of the competition. This isn't about salvaging a deal. It's about protecting their place in a new hierarchy. And the hierarchy is real. Shedeur isn't being compared to other rookies anymore. He's being measured against culture-defining figures. People are drawing parallels to the early days of LeBron's partnership with Nike, not because of athletic dominance, but because of how fully formed the branding feels. He's not trying to be everything to everyone. He's carving out his lane, and the world is adjusting to it. That's a powerful shift. And it's already influencing how future athletes are thinking. The message is clear. Don't wait for a legacy. Build one. Don't wait for approval. Make yourself undeniable. As fast as this all unfolded, it doesn't feel like a fluke. It feels like a case study. The sales weren't just high. They were explosive. The audience wasn't just supportive. They were evangelical. The industry wasn't just watching. They were reacting. That kind of response doesn't happen unless something fundamental has changed. What Shedeur Sanders just did is redefine the playbook. For rookies, for brands, for the entire endorsement game. The bar has shifted, and it's not going back. What comes next will be shaped by this moment, and everyone in sports marketing knows it. If you're still processing what just happened, you're not alone. Tap the comments. We want to hear how you're seeing this change play out. And if you want more breakdowns of the wildest turns in sports and celebrity chaos, you already know what to do. Subscribe, share it with someone who still thinks rookies have to wait their turn, and hit that like button on the way out. Right now, Shedeur Sanders isn't just shaping the future of his own career. He's shifting the blueprint for every young athlete trying to break through. This isn't about being flashy or having the biggest contract. It's about building a brand that moves people. And that's exactly what he's done. For years, athletes had to wait until they were crowned champions or reached superstardom before companies really took notice. Not anymore. Shedeur didn't just break the door down. He rewired the lock. His brand isn't built on postseason glory. It's built on now, on presence, on relevance. It's the kind of immediacy that even veterans can't buy. This is a moment where every agent in sports is paying closer attention. What used to be a long-term branding strategy, slow, careful, milestone-based, is getting tossed aside for real-time cultural leverage. Shedeur made branding look like gameplay. Every pass, every press moment, every tweet, it all felt like part of the campaign. That's what set the SS Crown apart. It didn't drop out of nowhere. It felt inevitable. There was momentum behind it long before the official launch. You saw it in the build-up, in how people talked about him, in the way his name trended on game days. It didn't need $1 million ad campaign. It needed a logo and a reason. That's it. And let's not downplay the level of impact here. People weren't just buying into a product. They were aligning themselves with a movement. The logo became a badge, not because of some flashy rollout, but because Shedeur was already walking the walk. His play on the field backed up every bit of the marketing push. It was performance that validated perception. That's why it hit so hard across social. Athletes can have great games. Influencers can have great followings. But very few can bring both worlds together like this. It's what made the SS Crown more than just a brand drop. It became a moment that reset the conversation. And the crazy part? It's only just starting. The resale market for Shedeur's Nike drop is already spiraling upward. People are flipping the gear like it's rare vinyl. Limited editions have already become collectors' items. And all of this is happening while Shedeur is still in the early phase of his NFL career. That duality, rookie status with veteran influence, is exactly what makes this such a rare scenario. Most young players are fighting for attention. He's controlling the narrative, whether it's in practice footage or post-game analysis. His brand threads into everything. The logo isn't a separate idea. It's part of the identity now. If there's a lesson here, it's that the playbook is evolving. Fast. Athlete branding used to follow the same path. Endorsements, social content. Maybe a logo years down the line. Shedeur flipped the timeline. Branding came first. Visibility followed. And performance kept it all legit. That shift is going to have ripple effects across the league. Other rookies will see this and wonder, why wait? Why let others define your image when you can shape it from the jump? And that's where it gets interesting. Because not every athlete is built for this. Not everyone can back up branding with real performance. But Shedeur can. That's the difference. And Nike knows it. That's why they're circling back. Early reports say the brand is reworking their deal terms behind the scenes. The original $92 million might have seemed massive 2 weeks ago, but now it's just a starting point. The ROI is clear. The demand is overwhelming, and the cultural value, that's the part you can't quantify. But you can feel it. You can see it when celebrities post up in SS Crown hoodies. You see it when sports commentators bring up his branding before even touching on the game stats. He's not just in the news cycle, he's driving it. And that kind of attention has a shelf life, unless you know how to keep the momentum going. So far, he's nailing it. When he first stepped into the preseason spotlight, most people expected good throws and decent tape. What they didn't expect was a full-scale brand storm right behind it. But that's the thing. He didn't wait for media cycles to validate him. He brought his own narrative and let the games catch up. In a league that often chews up rookies and spits them out, Shedeur created a cushion made of pure cultural capital. It's a strategy more associated with tech launches than sports debuts. And it worked, because by the time the first whistle blew, fans were already sold on him. Not just as a quarterback, but as a symbol. The Lions game was a prime example of how performance continues to fuel the brand. Not every play was flashy, but the discipline was there, the decision-making, the field vision. He didn't need to be dramatic. He needed to be consistent. And he was. That type of execution is what keeps the skeptics quiet. Because once the hype fades, what's left is your ability to deliver. And Shedeur has proven that the SS Crown isn't just floating on style. It's grounded in substance. Every clean drive, every fourth quarter push. It all reinforces that this isn't just marketing, it's merit. And the interviews, they become part of the strategy too. Not in a forced PR way, but in a tone that balances confidence with intention. He knows what he's doing. Whether he's breaking down a game or on branding, he controls the tempo. That poise is rare, especially when the spotlight is this hot. What's even rarer is how likable he's remained through it all. In an era where athletes are under constant scrutiny, Shedeur's been able to hold his authenticity. No scandals, no weird missteps, just a steady climb with calculated moves. And that's what fans are locking into. People love watching someone win, but they really love watching someone win their way. There's an irony in the moments when he's sidelined, because even then, the brand doesn't slow down. Whether it's a sideline shot or a casual walk into the stadium, every visual hits like a campaign. Not because it's manufactured, but because people are paying attention. His presence has weight. And that presence is the real asset. It's what makes rivals nervous. Not just because of what he's already done, but because of how early it is. There's room to scale, room to evolve. And if the early numbers are any indication, we're looking at the beginning of something way bigger than just another rookie contract. From media coverage to market data, everything points to a shift that could stick around for a long time. Athletes are watching. Executives are recalibrating. Fans are locked in. And Shedeur? He's just getting started. Here's where it gets even more wild. In the span of a few weeks, Shedeur has done what entire marketing departments spend quarters trying to pull off. Create a movement that feels both exclusive and universal. It's niche enough to feel personal, but broad enough to go viral. That's not luck. That's strategy, and it's working better than anyone projected. For Nike, this wasn't just a win. It was a wake-up call. Their own internal teams are reportedly studying the rollout to replicate the effect across future campaigns. But here's the thing. You can't copy authenticity. That's what so many brands miss. You can't manufacture what Shedeur already lives. The SS crown only works because it's his story, his performance, his presence. It doesn't just symbolize success, it proves it. Every time Shedeur speaks at a press conference, you can tell he's aware of the gravity of what's happening. He's not just fielding football questions anymore. He's addressing culture. And yet, he never veers into over-polished territory. There's no overly scripted sound bites. Just clarity. Just consistency. That's where most people don't give him enough credit. The brand is built on more than just visuals. It's built on values. He shows up prepared. He speaks with focus. He owns the weight of expectation. And that's why people are aligning with him, not just cheering from the sidelines, but showing up with their wallets, their social shares, and their loyalty. When you look at how the SS crown has spread, on merch, in streetwear, and athlete shoutouts, it becomes clear that this isn't just a successful launch. It's a benchmark. Nike knows it. Rivals know it. And fans definitely know it. It's becoming the kind of branding moment you reference in marketing decks years from now. Other athletes are already feeling the shift. There's a whole new wave of players trying to figure out how to build a brand like Shedeur. But here's the kicker. It's not about copying the logo or the rollout style. It's about having something real behind it. Without performance and purpose, none of this sticks. And Shedeur's got both. Even during training, his brand presence doesn't pause. Practice footage becomes part of the feed. Warm-ups turn into story content. Every moment is part of the larger mosaic, and that's intentional. But it never feels forced. That's what separates this rollout from so many others. It never tries too hard. It doesn't have to. This kind of cultural power comes from alignment. His practice habits match his public persona. His work ethic reflects his visuals. You're not seeing a split between on-field Shedeur and off-field Shedeur. It's all one brand, one narrative, one message. That's why the SS crown isn't just trending. It's becoming timeless. New game day photos roll out, and fans aren't just looking at the score. They're analyzing the fit. What's he wearing? What cleats? Is that a new variant of the SS gear? The level of detail people are watching what proves a brand has gone beyond function and into lifestyle. They're not just watching quarterback. They're following a movement. This goes back to the smartest part of the entire campaign. It was never just about sportswear. It was about aspiration. The SS crown became a symbol of elevation, of direction, of generational pride. And now, it's hitting every touch point, from the tunnels to TikTok. Every post-game interview feels like a masterclass in branding without branding. He speaks about the team, the plays, the grind, but the way he carries himself reinforces the exact message his brand is built on. Focus, composure, confidence. People are tuning in not just for analysis, but to watch how a 21-year-old is already moving like a 10-year vet, with cameras in his face, with pressure on his shoulders, and with an audience dissecting every second. He doesn't flinch. He owns the moment, and that's what makes his brand bulletproof. It's easy to forget that all of this started in preseason. The gear, the logo, the buzz. None of it waited for playoff stats or franchise wins. It launched during the grind, and somehow that timing made it even stronger. It proved that the brand doesn't depend on a highlight reel. It depends on identity. Most people wait for the perfect moment to launch. Shedeur built the moment. That's what future rookies will try to replicate. But unless they've got the same clarity, the same execution, the same trust from fans, it won't land the same. This wasn't lightning in a bottle. It was a carefully lit fire that's still burning. Even during the Browns versus Lions matchup, a game that could have been just another preseason run, the conversation kept circling back to the brand. Broadcasters dropped logo references. Fans showed up in SS hoodies. And social media flooded with real-time reactions to his throws, yes, but also to what the moment represented. It was the clearest example of what makes Shedeur's rise so different. People aren't just engaging with stats. They're engaging with the full package. The performance, the voice, the style, the symbolism. And they're not waiting for someone to tell them it matters. They already know. This whole rollout is a case study in what happens when preparation meets cultural timing. The market was ready. The audience was hungry. And Shedeur delivered exactly what they didn't know they needed. That's rare. That's powerful. You're watching history, not in the wait for a championship kind of way, but in the everything changed when he stepped in kind of way. And that's not even hype. It's measurable. It's market shaking. And the story isn't slowing down. If you've been tracking the rise of Shedeur Sanders, now's the time to stay locked in. Hit that like, so this hits more people who get it. Drop your take in the comments. What's the smartest move he's made so far? And make sure you're subscribed because this ride, it's just getting started.